Yeah. Welcome out, everybody, to another Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and this is that Boom Bap Breakfast Time. And let me introduce you to your host today. We have Kalanji Changa, and we also have Kamal Franklin. It's like the Remix Morning Renegade Culture Show. Let's go.
Yo.
The E, the N, the E, the G,
The G, the A,
the
the D, the
it's
E,
Renegade.
Renegade.
Remix.
Renegade.
What up, fam?
Hey, it's a takeover, not a makeover. Y'all know what to do around these parts. Tuesday morning. What up, Kamal?
Doing good. I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? Just coming off battles. You know, I laid some money down. All my bets won.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody laid some money down. Who you
Oh.
bet on, man?
Well, hold on.
I bet on Kane, and Kane won. Kane pulled it out.
Oh, Brooklyn.
He's a little better than I gave him more credit. I give him more credit. Then he brought the crew out. I was like, oh, that's
The
right.
man's breath control was on point.
Yeah.
I give him that. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
You give him the breath control award.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna break it down on one of the breaks. I'm gonna bring y'all into my world of breaking down the whole verses. But yeah, man, that was great.
Oh shit. Yeah, now it was good for hip hop, but you know, in checking that out, in retrospect, we were talking about who can go against KRS. I thought about it. I think that Busta Rhymes would have been good against him.
That's the only one.
Yeah, longevity, showmanship. You know what I mean? All that type of
breath control.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he still putting it down right now.
When it comes to that, though, Busta Rhymes got him in the breath control. Yeah. When he do that,
hell yeah.
I think Busta is underrated. Busta
very underrated.
He don't get in nobody's top 10 a lot of times, but Busta, like, you know, this as an actual rapper, you know what I mean? Like, not even considering like all his hits, but just like the things he could do, how he can flip, the way he can like change things up. No one gives him a lot of credit for that shit. So
that last album was fire. The videos and everything, you know what I'm saying? He came out like with royalty. Speaking of that, shout out Rising Power T Rogers, who was in that last Czar video, not the remix. He played the elder in the joint. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he just transitioned very recently, but yeah, definitely, man. I think Busta definitely, because I saw him in the audience. I said, you know what? That's who need to be on stage, because Kane is cool, but I mean, you know.
Whoa!
I mean, no,
we ain't gonna do that. We said Kane should have been against Rakim, but we ain't gonna act like Kane ain't do his thing.
I think Kane would have crushed Rakim on showmanship wise.
Oh, definitely.
Kane's
and
like
that's why he had to go against Kane. And plus, they was homeboys from back in the day. So he was like, and they doing a tour together now that they did this whole thing. So he's like, yo, I want to go on tour with my people. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now you got to cash in. Rightfully so. I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying, now you got to cash in. That's more publicity than they've had in like 2 decades combined. You know what I mean? So
yeah. But I mean, I think that's with all the verses, man. I think that you know, even the Locks Dipset tour, man. It's like, you know, I don't want to see Dipset, but you know, I mean, you know, anyway, that's
some people do.
some people do. You know,
all 12 of them.
Yeah, they could dip on the set. But anyway, it was dope. Your man DJ Scratch though, man, it's like he's looking real thirsty, man.
Oh my goodness,
he's getting sunned real bad. Like,
get that man some water, man.
Yeah, he's looking so thirsty. I was like, come on, son, like stop letting him play you like that. Then KRS was like, yo, you work for Kane.
Damn,
you a worker.
Right.
Sunned him like you're a worker bee. Get up out of here. Trying to act like you on point or something.
Yo, this whole renegade culture together thing was great, but we need to bring in some feminine energy. Can we do that?
System, man. Mate, can shall we? What up, Tyranny in the building?
Morning, how are you?
A lot of mercy. Hey, yo, listen. The only thing about Tyranny, last time Tyranny was she tried to play Kamal and I like we was ancient elders from
I didn't say shit.
Well, y'all are elders.
Yeah, she's
elders is respect, you know. So I respect all the work that you put in.
I played the Baba role. True indeed.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. It was just the way she said it that day. She said, yo, so how was it before they had telephones? Like it's like that, huh? Like,
used to send smoke signals.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Pow wow, man. Anyway, welcome to the remix.
What's that?
Yes.
How was your weekend?
It was good. Didn't do a whole lot. I did. My friend wanted to go see Trevor Noah. He was in DC, so went to go see that show. That's it.
Okay. Did you watch the Versus?
No, I'm really bad at keeping up with stuff. I'm sorry.
You want to be called old. He just wants to be called old.
No, but I actually do want to watch that one. Like, I'm gonna go back. Usually I miss them, and then like I'll see the clips later on.
To Tyranny, that's like the Isley brothers against Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That shit was dope. That was one of the dopest verses. I don't care what y'all say. That was still one of the dopest verses. But you know the ill thing about it, I'm sitting here and I couldn't imagine like 20 years ago somebody saying they was going to see Trevor Noah and not KRS versus Kane. So you know the times.
That was on Friday.
Okay, all right. Okay, cool.
Well, y'all rocked out. I'll be back on the break.
All right, my brother.
Was Trevor funny?
Yeah, how about
that?
It
was funny. So I'm not the hugest fan of him. One of my friends loves him, and he does say some good things every once in a while that I appreciate. So he was pretty funny, but like, with all due respect to the audience, I would say like more of like a white people funny, if that makes sense. Like, sense. Yeah, like it wasn't like, too, hit me in the gut, but it was pretty okay.
He's the safe mulatto African jokester kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing I cannot stand that he does. I will say that overwhelmingly, like the vast majority of the jokes were about COVID, which is kind of annoying also because I don't always want to think about COVID. But yeah, I think he made like a couple African jokes, but overwhelmingly it seemed like more like pointing at white society, which I noticed he's been doing more recently. So I wasn't too bad with that.
So he's no RemiX morning show or Renegade Coach or nothing like that.
No, not at all.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how he get down. Like, maybe he gets down differently out when the cameras or change or whatever. But like his persona,
right?
It's like I'm safe. I'm a safe critiquer. I'll critique, but it's in the range. At the end, I'll leave you smiling. You'll walk away happy. Or to polish up that racism.
Yeah. Exactly.
One day you'll change.
Right. And that's ill because of the fact that that's how I think to folks like us, it's annoying because of the fact that it's like, let me say one of the things that is a ill in society and people clap like, oh, I'm glad he spoke out against that. And it becomes this sound bite and shit. And it's like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it was a lot of clapping.
As I go back and date my white model and live my extremely bourgeois lifestyle.
Shout out to Tiger Woods. But anyway, what's crazy too, man. Shout out to Dr. Jared Ball. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say I mix what I like because we hardly see him on here. But one of the things he said that Roland Martin be biting our shit, and I said, man, Jared be bugging. But then yesterday I saw some shit on Roland Martin. I'm like, come on, son. What the fuck, man? When you doing the 55th anniversary of the Black Panther Party on a Monday? The anniversary was goddamn Friday. You know what I'm saying? Where'd you get that from? So I'm like, it's just a couple of things. Now, the ill thing about it, he had, shout out to Mama Charlotte and Pete O'Neill. He had them on there. But immediately after he's talking about the Black Panther Party, what is he talking about? Cultural icon Colin Powell. Yes, I said Powell. So I'm just like, wow, dude, that's like, you talk about contrast, how we lost an icon. So we definitely got to talk about Colin Monkey Ass a little bit later on too. I've seen a lot of our people are totally confused. They're like, oh man, Colin Powell is dead, so on and so forth. Not counting the hundreds of thousands of people that were dead courtesy of his doing. But we'll talk about
it's never about the politics. It's always about the representation. That's the story we live in. Like, so it could be something hard left, and then the next, like you said, the next moment it's something right wing. As long as it's black and they can make it, they can put it in a certain character or make it feel like it's a feel good story, it's an overcoming story, and then again, move on, and then he'll go date his maybe black model and live his bourgeois life and keep going.
Right. The annoying thing for me is that I know for a fact if the Black Panther Party were here today, that a lot of the same people who celebrate them and make movies, and now like the Fred Hampton movie, now it's like, oh yes, he was a revolutionary. I know for a fact that almost all of them would have been against what they stood for, just like so many other leaders. I love like Malcolm X is now like, oh, you have all these people wearing Malcolm X t-shirts and all this stuff who don't share politics. So it's funny how watered down our movements become by the mainstream. Like they'll take very, very controversial stances and make it palpable to the masses to me is a way to kind of like minimize like what they actually stood for.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a way of making it look like, okay, we have evolved and we're understanding this is post-racial America. My biggest thing in my lifetime was seeing Malcolm X on the U.S. postage stamp. I was like, this is the bull of all shit right here. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that it's like,
you don't remember that Malcolm was on a stamp?
I didn't get that one.
she probably was just coming around when Malcolm was on the stamp.
Maybe, because I don't remember. That crazy.
It only lasts like maybe a year or two before.
Oh, okay. I don't even think it lasts that long, man. I think there's like, get that shit up out of here, man.
But his family pushed it. His family pushed it to happen.
Right.
It wasn't ballot or the bullet entered in like some type of Library of Congress, like speeches or something like that.
I mean,
they'll do that. They'll put all that stuff in. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm sorry to step on you, Clara. They'll de-radicalize it. You know what I mean? It's like basically saying, but
yeah. So what they do is it's like they'll take a lion and put him in a circus. That's actually what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like, okay, lion, king of the jungle. All of a sudden, then all of a sudden that one day when the lion snap and eat 3 of the motherfuckers or jump in the crowd, everybody looking at the lion like, we have to put the lion to sleep. I don't know what's wrong with him. He has drapetomia. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be all right one day, someday, somehow.
And then you and Jared actually were on Ben Dixon talking about Panthers, i.e., political prisoners and so forth. Whatever. A little cross promotional.
Yes. And I want to say, because I know that some folks is like, telling us how different people get down. Understand this right here so we can be quite clear about where we are today. If we're talking about political prisoners, I'm against Fox like a motherfucker, but if I can get 5 minutes to educate the masses, those who may have mistakenly turned to Fox, and we could talk about the liberation of our political prisoners, then I'm down with the program. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the fact that, we must understand that our political prisoners are our comrades, okay? Family, so to speak. So you look at it like this right here. If someone snatches up your son or your daughter, you're not going to say, well, don't put out an Amber Alert because of the fact that, these crackers, you know what I'm saying? That sounds good in theory. You want your child back. Am I wrong? You know what I'm saying? You don't give it that. If you can get your child back safely, you don't care who the hell is posting it out there. So shout out to Ben Dixon for having the gall to bring some rebel radical folks like ourselves on the joint to talk about political prisoners.
And just to make sure that we understand, so we're not Ben is not Fox. Ben
no, not at all. No, I'm not trying to say
progressive. Yeah, he's got progressive and some radical politics to him. You may not always see that, of course, but he has a certain lane that he's operating in. So
no doubt. So that's what I'm saying. I'm definitely not saying he's Fox, but anyway.
So I didn't catch it. Were people upset that y'all went on, or like?
No, I think some folks in the chat were just pointing out that he was liberal. We don't look at the chat, but
Yeah, I mean, so many of our, freedom fighters would go to platforms where they did not share the same politics. So it's really strange how this generation is kind of like trying to be separatist to a core.
I just saw a great interview somebody was posting it of Kwame Ture and Elaine Brown on Charlie Rose. It's like that's been making the rounds on social media because in particular, I guess Kwame has been talking about Black politicians or Black elected officials, which still holds true today. That interview is probably 25 years old, if not a little older than that, where he's talking about we have more Black elected officials now than at any time in our history. That he goes through the stats of like where Black folks are and the lack of power that we have. Not only in spite of that, but basically he's saying because of who those politicians are beholden to, and it's like that. And again, he's on Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose certainly didn't share their politics. He might have thought it was an interesting discussion to have, some intellectual banter. But you know, he's similar. He went from that to then probably interviewing some right-wing dude next. You know what I mean? So that's just what they do. Yeah.
Before we go to the ear doctor, I want to say that I was on Fox in the past, representing Imam Jamil Alameen, formerly H. Rap Brown. The thing about Fox and a lot of these other different channels, just for the record, for those of you out there who are unfamiliar with media and how they get down, how they operate, the key to this shit right here is to stick to the script. You saying what you saying, so no matter how they slice it or dice it up, it's going to be that. You don't get caught up in the sidetracking of the slave. If you're there to talk about political prisoners, you know, I mean, one particular cat down here that interviewed me was talking about some. He's like, yeah, I was in the Mexican movement and so on and so forth, and we did this. He's like, you know, talking all this shit while they micing me up. So then, as soon as the mic go live, they said, "You ready? Go." He's like, so how does it feel supporting a cop killer? I don't know. So I flipped the script on him. I'm like, oh my goodness, are we talking about your mother? You know what I'm saying? So I just went, everything I'm saying is just like, I know you're not going to air this part, but this is what we're talking about right here. You know what I mean? So you got to stick to the script. And, you know, for the record, fuck Fox. Let's bring the ear doctor on. How about that?
Blup, 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 blup. I love it. Hey, yes, it's another beautiful day, as you see. It's time to get the weather report so people can know what they need to do, how they need to dress, and all that, and carry on with their day. So let's get to it.
Let's get it.
The weather report.
Remix Morning Show.
We got weather report today.
Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out once again to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and I come to give you the morning weather report. But make sure before we get there that y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe so y'all can get the notifications and know when the new shows and the next show is coming out. And also make sure y'all join and go to patreon.com and drop some change in the bucket. All right, I love it. Now, let's get to the weather. So, where should we start off first? Let's go to Greensboro, North Carolina. Big up to the Aggies up there in Greensboro. My sister actually went to North Carolina A&T, so big up to that. North Carolina, Greensboro, they got a high today of 72 degrees. All right, let's take it to the west side. Let's go to LA. Let's go to Los Angeles, California, where they have a high today of 69 degrees. It's getting kind of fallish. I like it. I'm getting to rock the nice new gear and everything. All right. So then let's go to Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico, where they have a high today of 88 degrees. Big up to San Juan. And then let's go over to Dundee. Wait a minute. Let's go to Africa first. Let's go to Chad. Let's go to Fada, Chad, where they have a high of 100 degrees. It's nice and hot in Chad right now. So if you're trying to vacation, well, anyway, it's hot. So let's go over to Dundee, Scotland. Why do I pick Dundee, Scotland, where they have a high of 61 degrees? Because no other than our friend Colin Powell, who is half Jamaican, half Scottish. That's right. It's pretty cold, but it ain't that cold. But can you imagine the coldness that this guy went through for being the first black Secretary of State? This dude been around since Nixon, where you got to walk in a room, bunch of people don't like you, a bunch of people is mad as hell that you got that job, and you got to deal with all these people giving you hate. Now, I'm not saying I got mad love for the bruh, but I can understand how it is being the first in your field and getting the cold stare, no love, and trying to do a job. Well, he ain't do the best job, but he did a good job for them. That's what it is. It's a cold world right here anyway, right here at the Remix Morning Show. Let's get back to our host who got you with the most. Yup. All right.
Yeah, can you do that, Chad? Okay, I'm just going to skip over to Colin Powell for a minute. Can you do that Chad impression again? Let me hear that Chad.
Chad Fada. Father Chad.
Okay.
I didn't say it right. Oh, were you talking about San Juan, Puerto Rico?
Stop. Yeah. Oh, it was the Puerto Rico one you did too. That's true. Yeah.
San Juan. Yes, you have to say Juan.
Was that's supposed to be a Puerto Rican accent? What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, you know, I'm from Trenton, man. My next door neighbors is Puerto Ricans, man. Big up to Jose and Gladys, Evanilda, Priscilla, the whole family.
The whole fam. True that.
The whole fam. Anyway, that's the weather report. I'm out of here. I'll catch you on next break.
Peace. You know, your microphone is on mute, B, if you try to talk. You're doing a whole lot of talking, Kalaji, but your mic's on mute. I was like, are you still talking?
Trust me, I'm glad it was on mute. Because I couldn't control what was coming out. Let's just say that. Anyway, shout out to the ear doctor for San Juan and Father.
He put some into it.
I mean, man, listen, man, I ain't have my morning coffee. Yeah, Colin Powell. Let's go straight to the news, man. How about we
spin that globe? That's
we Okay. Yes. Welcome to the Remix Morning Show. The world knows by now that Colin Powell is gone. You know what I'm saying? He's, gone to join Ronald Reagan and some of the other friends that he had while they shared time terrorizing the planet. I know that some people are sad. There's a lot of black folks walking around, with Colin Powell memes and Colin Powell what do you call that? The profile pics and all that type shit. I was quite confused because I saw a couple folks and I'm just like, man, you changed your Malcolm profile pic to Colin Powell. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, like how do I even begin to deal with this guy who is a known terrorist and a known war criminal? Okay. Folks get caught up in the first black shit, right? And that's just like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? What does it mean to be the first black war criminal here in the United States? What does that mean to be the most decorated war criminal, black war criminal here in the United States? What type of accomplishments and achievements? I think that we should look into Colin Powell's life because of the fact that a lot of folks talk about his history in the in the White House. You know what I'm saying? Becoming the youngest person and first African-American to be chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, to be becoming the first African-American Secretary of State, countless military awards, served 2 tours of duty in South Vietnam, was a second lieutenant in the Army, started out, was wounded while in Vietnam by a Viet Cong booby trap, wounded again in Vietnam in a helicopter crash. I mean, this dude right here, we can go on and on, just his so-called achievements and accomplishments in the United States, becoming the National Security Advisor under Ronald Reagan. Overseeing Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield, retiring as a 4-star general. You know what I mean? 1993, named Honorary Knight Commander, Most Honorable Order of the Bath by Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, this dude, Queen Elizabeth II honoring him as a knight. You know what I mean? This is a Jamaican child of Jamaican descent, growing up in Harlem. You understand what I'm saying? So he's a different type of. He wasn't the Obama-esque type, but he had the right complexion to represent. You know what I'm saying? He had the white. The white, the white and the right method of fighting. Moving along, I mean, this guy, all types of books and whatnot, him coming up under George W. Bush, and later on resigning and becoming Condoleezza Rice took over after him. one of the things that folks talking about, a lot of people was happy after the whole January 6th situation because of the fact that he announced that he was no longer a Republican. Okay. How are you no longer a Republican? Now, we know that you did support Obama. You endorsed Obama, but you announced after this whole January 6th incident that you are no longer a Republican. What's in the name, as they say? You know what I'm saying? The terror that you've caused far outweighed what went on at the Capitol. But folks are parading and championing you as if you're some type of hero for our cause. I'm confused. We live in Atlanta, and as our comrade Deruba would say, the slaves run the plantation here. You know, we're so happy to get our ass whooped by overseers. You know, this is one of those cities that you're not relieved or at ease when you look up and you see a black cop. In fact, we are more on edge when we see black cops here in Atlanta because of the fact that we feel like a lot of these Negroes have more to prove than their white counterparts. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to, ask you to, what are your thoughts on Colin Powell? Are you sad? Are you holding vigils? What's going on? Talk to me so I can be clear about politics and Remix Morning Show. Where you at?
I wasn't sad. I think it really brings the question as far as the whole representation situation. Why are we so happy being inside of the oppressor's home? Why are we so happy being inside of the house? Why are we celebrating? I mean, sorry for the term, but literally house Negroes. He literally, was in the White House where he did a number of things that went adverse to African people and indigenous people. So I think it really gives us a lens into the psyche that America has inflicted on us. To me, it really boggles down to self-hatred. Some of us hate so much the idea of ourselves being on our own to actually determine our own destinies that we would so much rather be inside of see ourselves in a position where we're actually inflicting pain on our own people. So there was that. And also, the response, it was telling, but it was also something I'm sure all of you expected, because again, so many of the people who are inside of high positions inside of media are complicit with this idea that representation is the ultimate goal. So they're happy whenever they have, like you said, war criminals being put inside of a position where you have a black face that's now the representation of white supremacy. That actually furthers their agenda, to try to align with white supremacy as well. So, I wasn't surprised by the commentary. I would say to African people, we have to have higher standards. If you want to celebrate Colin Powell, I think some people, they feel more comfortable doing it because he did come out in support of Obama at the end and then said he's no longer Republican. If you want to have, that type of outlook on someone and say, well, maybe they changed, you need to have higher standards. Changing means renouncing, means outing, all of the corruption. Changing means, doing something substantive, not saying that I'm going to change my label. If you were someone who did mass atrocities, turn yourself into a world court. Like, that's to me what someone actually does when they have come to terms with the horrible things that they have done. And I've never seen him, take responsibility. I've never seen him show remorse for all of the lives lost. And so any type of so-called change to me, it's all deception in order for us to more be able to digest these people later down the line whenever their crimes are already committed.
And I mean, just to add on, and for most of America, there aren't crimes, right? Because his work was in service to the empire. And that's why he's being celebrated by mainstream media. And unfortunately, mainstream media, which controls too many of the ways in which we think about the world, leads to people who are so misinformed that they do exactly what Kalonji says, right? They go from a Malcolm background on his social media to a Colin Powell background and see no problem with it whatsoever. And I just, it wanted to trace one particular part of his history as a soldier, right? He served, like Kalonji said, 2 units in Vietnam. And in particular, he was part of a unit that their detachment sort of discouraged support for the Viet Cong, basically the Vietnam freedom fighters, right? By torching villages throughout A Shu Valley, while other U.S. advisors protested this countrywide strategy, right? Some people actually said this was bad. Powell defended it as the draining the sea approach, which means basically taking away the population from the revolutionaries by taking away their villages, their homes, the places they live for literally thousands of years. And this was okay for him in defense of empire, just as like the bookend of his career was him showing up at the United Nations, presenting false evidence to encourage a war on a nation of people who had done nothing to the United States whatsoever. In fact, the leader who used to be in service to the United States, Saddam Hussein, but who fell out of favor. And so then it became okay to use this person to use information, which again, they knew were false, that was made up. And they used his so-called credibility. What was his credibility? He was a Black man who rose up the ranks of empire, right? Who could sit there and articulate their interest. And so again, even the rest of the world was so happy and proud to have a Black representative charging someone for war crimes, which did not happen in that case, or claiming they had weapons of mass destruction. They were so happy that the presentation came from a Black man that they were willing to believe anything. Just so as Malcolm said, the criminal himself calling other people a criminal, and so that's who we believe, right? The people who put war on over and over and over again. I did a little recount, and based on his policies and efforts and things that he's directly either responsible for or led, you can say at a minimum he's responsible for the killing of over 700,000 human beings. That's who people are honoring, right? People who needlessly died. Most of those people who died on their own land, died in their own villages, their own cities, their own towns, because he led the effort for the America to drop bombs on them and to kill them where they stood. That's who we're honoring. And the Black community, those who are honoring somebody who did that in service to empire.
Hey man, listen, I mean, you guys hit it on the nail, hit the hammer, the head of the nail. What Tyranny said as far as being impressed if he turned himself over to the world court. I would say either that or commit harikiri or seppuku, which is the Japanese ritual of stabbing yourself in the stomach with a short sword and turning that shit upward to make sure you were gone. If he did that, then either that or turn yourself in for prosecution, then I'd be saluting myself. I'd be like, you know what? I think you redeemed yourself. You realize that you failed your people, that you were a traitor to your people. You were a traitor to your race. You were a traitor to indigenous people across the world. Kamal mentioned over 700,000 people. We're talking about 750,000 people. You know what I'm saying? And all you're going to tell us is you regret the lion speech that you told at the UN. You're going to tell us you regret being a Republican and all of this bullshit. I mean, listen, man, no, I mean, miss us with the bullshit. Man, with all due respect, rest in peace. Anyway, any more commentary before we move on to the next story? Rather harsh, isn't it? Life sucks. Anyway, Tyranny, you have a story.
Well, speaking of war criminals, a very interesting development out of Tanzania. So many of you might be aware that the former president of Tanzania, John Magufuli, he died recently, and his replacement is now President Samia Suluhu Hassan. And Magufuli was a lot more controversial, and I want to emphasize a lot of people, and I don't necessarily agree, believe that he was probably assassinated because he really wasn't a conventional African leader. A number of things that he did, not saying, he's Sankara, but he did a number of things that kind of went contrary to what the powers that be would want him to. So when he died, there was a very strong feeling that this person, could have been a victim of, the white supremacist system. Then something notable with him also is that, he, so I think many people probably became more aware of him whenever he took a very strong stance against vaccines. And, regardless of where you fall on that, I think we can agree, that was a very, everyone was like, oh, wow, you're taking this strong stance. And a lot of people are wondering whether the current president of Tanzania is going to follow suit. Now, I noticed that she wasn't following suit as far as a lot of the COVID mandates and everything like that. She was encouraging vaccination, but it seems like she crossed the big line to me, because she now has gone through Tony Blair, another war criminal, for assistance doing this. So basically, she went to Tony Blair's Institute for Global Change and hired Tony Blair to handle her administration's key projects, the fight against COVID-19 and rebuilding Tanzania's international reputation. So when I seen this, I was very appalled because, of course, we know that Tony Blair, another white supremacist, we know another person with a lot of blood on his hands, is now hired by the Tanzanian government to help them with COVID and help them with these things. So I just wanted to bring that forward, get your thoughts on that.
I mean, it's all around the world, same song. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like I agree. I don't know if I'm appalled or saddened at the state of Africans, how the desperation, across the board when it comes to the need to include Europeans, you know what I mean, and call it some type of benevolent act, call it some type of act of concern or care for the masses and the people, so on and so forth. I mean, I have faith that one day the scales of balance will balance itself out. You know what I mean? And all of those who betray our people and betray the people as a whole, will get what they give. You know what I'm saying? It is crushing and saddening that it's like, and we still have folks talking about, I want to move to the motherland, as if imperialism is not ingrained or mixed in the soil with the blood. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It's the story just sounds like every story we report every day. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit, different toilet. So yeah, that's my thoughts, man. Come out.
I think what's interesting for me is how integrated, let's just say, the bourgeois class is these days, right? We've now reached a level of integration where the person who used to be the Prime Minister of England or Britain is now on the payroll of an African leader because it's all about getting the chips, right? And so the dynamics are there where, everybody is contributing to everybody else's ability to hold on or weave a web that continues to keep not only, again, Western imperialism going, but those who act on its behalf are now contributing to that very nature too. They're not being forced to. They just see their vital interest as being teamed up with these people. And of course, there's always been truth in that, but there used to be much more brutal ways or even more submissive ways in which African leaders were reacting to sort of European demands. So I just feel like we've reached this level of sort of bourgeois integration or capitalist integration where, there's still obviously a submissive or a hierarchy to these things. But they are so busy concerned with status and money that they've continued to weave their efforts to keep the web going, right? It doesn't matter anymore. They're not inclined anymore to just sort of use overt racism. They will bring in these folks, and these folks have, again, the racism that still exists is that, well, a lot of it still exists, but one of the in this particular case is somehow Tony Blair is thought to have credibility. Which is, it's like, to say it sounds crazy on its face to us, but there still seems to be some credibility that they think he offers in terms of hiring him and him doing some sort of coaching on how these things work. So, just this sort of weave that folks do together to continually keep empire going and to keep themselves going and playing their role within the empire. So,
is it me or is like Tony Blair like the Bill Clinton of his region? Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this smooth operator. You know what I'm saying? So smooth that the Africans can move him in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? They can come. Come on down to Harlem. Bring your saxophone. You know what I'm saying? As if there was no I mean, just that alone, look at how insulting that is. You're talking about one of the jazz capitals of the world, when you talk about entertainment, and you have this white boy come to town with his saxophone and change the whole game and whatnot. And I guess I don't know what Tony Blair going to come with. What was he blaring with? I mean, like,
he's going to bring his whiteness.
He's going to bring his just like, look at me, I'm white. Yeah. You know, but yeah, it's just. I mean, it's criminal in so many different ways. I mean,
and I think also, you know, to play the conspiracy theorist, because I am, and I'm not ashamed to be a conspiracy theorist.
Okay, welcome to the company.
I mean, it does kind of make me feel like, okay, you go from Magufuli, and again, Magufuli was very like unconventional, like something simple, like he knew English, but he refused to speak in English. Like, if you're going to interview him, you have to interview me in Swahili. Like, so many, like, he's right. Very unconventional person, and very much like, not like, you know, not an easy person to manipulate, I would say. And I don't know, you know, if he has what exactly, you know, goes on behind the scenes, but that was something that was his reputation. So when you have someone with that reputation replaced by someone that would, how did you even get like that? How did that conversation even get going with Tony Blair? Like, where did all the African doctors, all the African people who are qualified to lead the initiative on COVID, you go over to England to bring someone in? And so that to me does make me feel like there's something, you know, going on that's just off.
Amen. Welcome to, I was going to say, welcome to America, because I think.
Welcome to the world. Welcome to the
world, the white supremacist world.
Yeah, I mean, shit, the same shit, the toilet, like I said, man. But oh man, we're gonna be all right in spite of ourselves. In other news, here in the United States, because of the fact I know you all tired of us talking about these war criminals, let's get some fake good news here and see how that works out. Over in Philadelphia, they have Philadelphia has become the first big city to ban minor traffic stops, said to criminalize driving while black. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad that we're getting to that particular point. They said Philadelphia is the first large U.S. city to enact legislation aimed at curtailing the use of pretextual stops for low-level infractions, which disproportionately have targeted black drivers. Okay, this story right here talks about how there's a 14-2 vote. City Council passed the Driving Equality Bill, which details 7 offenses, including improperly displayed registration or emission stickers as secondary violations that cannot be the sole reason for police to pull over a driver. Instead, officers can issue citations for those infractions that will be mailed to the drivers. The legislation will take effect 120 days after Mayor Jim Kenney signs it. Okay, now I know that it was told that about 97% of police vehicle stops are for low-level violations, according to the Defender Association. Eliminating those could lead to as many as 300,000 fewer police encounters each year projected. Now, I'd heard some. I'm trying to think, where did I hear this particular news? But one of the things that they talked about how I believe it was like 90-something% of the traffic stops they made ended up in the arrest of black people, and they were searching for drugs and weapons and all that type shit, and they said less than 1% was actually found within, you know, due to these stops, you know. So this is I would imagine huge for Philadelphia or for anywhere right now, because of the fact that you have to come up with some new excuses in order to single out, what do they call it? My brain is kind of froze right now.
Profile, right? I mean, how can I get profile? But you know, the profiling of black and brown and other indigenous people should stop. But of course, we know that they come with new improved tactics. It looks good on paper, but you know, how far would that go? What's your thoughts on that, Kamal Franklin, from a legal perspective? Well, I mean, I'll start by saying that I'm happy with any law or any passage that gets the police to not stop as many black and brown folks. So I'm not mad at it. I think, as you stated, the pretextual stops is something that's long been in the tool belt of the police. to do exactly what you said. It's an excuse to pull folks over. It's an excuse to run a license. It's an excuse to search a car. Basically, it's an excuse to harass, potentially arrest and put charges on somebody. So anything that limits the interaction between folks and police, I'm going to be down with, per se. It's obviously not a solution, because what happens is that the police have so much discretion when it comes to how they do their job, that they largely make up stuff. So it's not even about the real infractions or so forth. Stop and frisk has been, known as like, he looked away and darted away, and he made a furtive movement, which means a fast movement or something like that. Those sort of pretexts have always been enough. So some cop will drive by somebody and say, he looked away, he sped up, or she sped up, or whatever it is, right? And those things are extremely hard to document outside of a sort of he said, she said mode. And so therefore the cop will get the benefit of the doubt. That person will get searched, even if they're not have anything or doing anything that could be considered contraband or illegal. Even if they do, in one instance, if they do, they shouldn't have been stopped in the first place. But even if they don't, then what happens very quickly is that if you speak up for yourself, if you say, like, why am I being stopped? What did I do? And that causes a back and forth, then you're being charged with disorderly conduct, or then you're being charged with obstruction of governmental administration. And then there's charge after charge, which adds on, and which we know in the case of the sister a few years ago, Sandra, what was Sandra's birth? Say it again.
Sandra
Bland, who was killed, I guess it's ostensibly was said to have committed suicide, but that only happened because she was pulled over, brutalized, arrested, kept in a cell for no reason whatsoever except the whim of a police officer. And that's how policing is done in the United States. And that's how policing will always be done in the United States, because that's the purpose of police.
I agree with all of that. But I'll say, like, when laws like this come out, I actually don't feel any like positive feeling. The reason I don't is because I feel like it's a way to kind of trivialize the issue. The issue, as you said, is that we have these occupying forces that are monitoring us, and they have so much discretion to where they can literally write up something that's not true. And because they have the force of the law behind them, it will be, it will be true. As far as the law goes, how many people do we have in jail? And they said, well, this happened because you were convicted, and it never happened. So to me, it just trivializes the issue. I think, I'm looking for people who actually want to do laws that have a significant way of derailing the police systems as it exists, and seeing those things implemented. I know there's been a lot of talk about, abolishing police and things like that. I would just be curious, as to what type of movements are pushing that as of now, because things like this, to me, it's more like a way to dress up, okay, well, we're moving forward even when the system remains intact. Revolution is, never going to be something that keeps the system going, even though it looks better. I want to see something that's more substantive, that's going to change the outcomes, not so much change how it's done, but change the end result.
Yeah. Kamau, you worked in New York during the whole stop and frisk thing, and I know that you were involved in several of those cases. And I don't know, how did that work out? I mean, because we're looking at this thing, and it's certainly smells like the whole stop and frisk laws. But what did you see any benefit? Being in New York when the laws changed or whatever, or was it business?
From a reformist standpoint, there's to me, from a reformist standpoint, and part of this is sort of a calculation of like, it's going to take a while to get to revolution. So what's happening between now and then, right? And so from the pure reformist standpoint, I mean, there's definitely some benefits to me to doing that kind of stuff, right? And then the trade-off is, how much more does that make people believe that they can reform a system that's really, in a lot of ways, or totally unreformable, right? How much more does those things make us believe that we can abolish the police, without abolishing the state system that keeps that actually uses the police to do the work that it does, right? So the problem with reformers' work, in just in one realm, it's about if there isn't some sensibility or stride for mass change and radical reform, what do we do in the meantime? There's going to be things that have to be in the meantime to get the oppressor slightly off your neck. But again, it comes with the sense of, if you put so much effort into that, and if that's what you see as victories, then what you're not understanding is that the state itself will always allow for slight reforms as long as it keeps control. And so the moment it doesn't have control, obviously that means you have a revolution on your hands. That's a different scenario. And so in terms of an abolitionist, I just mentioned this because Tyranny brought it up, right? In terms of even an abolition movement, for me, an abolitionist movement is real when it goes beyond saying you're gonna really reform one aspect of the state, because the state is never going to take away its police force, right? The state's never going to abolish its police force. It may change its name, it may change some funding apparatus to make people feel better, but the domestic police is basically the domestic army. And as Colin Powell commanded armies that went overseas to squash and kill people, at the cities level, we have the police, and their role is to do basically the same. And that is the power of the state, to have that power over you. So again, in one sense, reform is it's helpful as people live their lives, but reform does not mean oppression ends.
So knowing that, we have about 2 minutes and some change before we go to the ear doctor. Solutions. What would you suggest as an organizer with the folks in Philly? You know what I'm saying? We know that oftentimes when they see these new laws, they think it's time to relax. You know what I'm saying? What would be the next step? What would you say as a seasoned organizer, Kamal? What would you say as far as a next step approach if you were in Philly organizing?
I mean, it's to find the next issue. It's to keep the pressure on. No victory is a real victory. And as you're doing some of these little things, you're actually still creating a mass-based organization that can do things like not only a cop watch, but create its own security to be in a buffer force between our community and the police that gains strength and energy. What is it that we can do to replace these institutions that have control or power over us? And so I think for any organizer, I have no problem with people doing things in terms of working to change city laws and ordinances and all the rest of it. I think that's part of the struggle because that's where a lot of the masses are at. But I think if you're an organizer and you have radical thinking, while you're doing it at the same time, you are working on the bigger issues. You're bringing people into the bigger issues. And the bigger issues for me is around how do we not only challenge these systems, but create systems that we have power and control over, because that's where the long-term battle is.
No doubt. Hey, in the words of the comrades, a revolutionary is never satisfied. You know what I'm saying? We claim no easy victories and we keep on rumbling. You know what I'm saying? You don't stop. It's like boxing or MMA. Just because a cat stagger, that don't mean you stop striking. You know what I'm saying? You keep on until it's one and done. Anyway, with that in mind, we want to bring on the honorable. I think this brother's in the barbershop somewhere in Brooklyn.
Yo,
the head doctor in the building.
Yo, man, you in the wrong shop. You need to go to the wig shop with that hairdo. Now, matter of fact, come over here. Let me give you a hairline. You see mine? Anyway. Hey, yo, man, I'm on my moonlighting job in my other gig, man. You know.
Oh, you got there fast too, bro. You got there fast.
Yeah,
real fast.
Listen, right down the block. You know, we keep it in the community.
True,
Yo,
true.
but why every time you in the shop, them dudes looking the same, man? They be in the same position, man. They be tripping. Same shirts and everything.
You still doing that? Remember when they was doing that pose and everybody was frozen?
Ah, okay.
We still doing.
Oh, that was good. Oh, that was good. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought the screen froze. Oh, wait a minute.
Anyway, we about to break down the whole verses. We doing this barbershop talk, so let's get to it right here on the Remix.
Remix Morning Show.
All right. Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. And let me tell you real quick, I appreciate everybody that showed up for Sundays and was like, yo, where's the Ear Doctor? Let me tell you what happened. Because first of all, we had the Sundays joint that was going to be airing right here on Black Power Media. Now, you see, the problem is that when this flyer first came out, at the top, you see it was supposed to start at 9 p.m. This was the first flyer, and they changed the time. So therefore, I had a bunch of people coming through where I had an event going on showing the verses on the screen. So I couldn't do the Sundays, and I had to tend to all the people that came to the show. So I apologize, but it wasn't my fault. And I will be back 8 o'clock this Sunday coming up, and we're going to rock that 80s mix. Anyway, let's get back to the verses. In case y'all didn't know, y'all was on another planet. They just had another verses, and it was Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One. Now, I want to get a breakdown. It was a beautiful thing, a very beautiful thing, because from beginning to end, I teach kids about hip-hop. So this was a great lesson on hip-hop all the way through, talking about the culture. Hip-hop has elements. You got the MCs, you got the DJs, you got graffiti, you got breakdancing. This showed every piece of the element. You got fashion, you even got beatboxing. So we had these two go at it, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One. It started off with two DJs going, doing their thing. You had DJ Scratch and you had DJ Kid Capri. Now, the difference between two different DJs is you got one, Kid Capri is a party DJ. So he rocks the parties like no other. DJ Scratch is a scratch DJ. He knows how to scratch and do all the techniques and stuff like that. So for them going back and forth with each other, it wasn't even really a battle on that. It was showing two different styles of DJs. Now, let's get back to Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One. You got two MCs. People say who won. To me, it was a draw. Big Daddy Kane, first of all, he came through lyric after lyric. He spit. MC moved the crowd, did all that, didn't miss a lyric. KRS-One, little winded. We get it. So I'll give Big Daddy Kane the win on the MC. But when it comes to hits, KRS-One has hits all day. Every time a KRS-One song came on, all the people in the place was like, yeah. So that's what it was with that. Now back to the whole culture. You had break dancers. On KRS-One's shirt, you had graffiti. He brought out different people out to the stage. They had guests. They had Nice and Smooth. Greg Nice did a little beatboxing. You had DOS Effects. You had the queen of it all. Roxanne Shante came out, and she said she was doing this before they was even doing records. She was just 15, 14 years old battling MCs, and that's where hip-hop came from, the battle. So this right here, this verses, was all about showing what hip-hop was all about. Then you had Scrap Lover, one of the dancers for Big Daddy Kane. You had Master Ace and Craig G came out and did the symphony. Now, they didn't have Cool G because Cool G couldn't make it. He had other obligations. And then you had it all right there. And then you also had Hakeem Green from Madism. So you had a bunch of guest stars. It was real dope. I loved it. Had a great time watching it. And I can't wait to see more like this because it was a true lesson of MCing hip-hop culture all the way around, and I loved it. So that's what it is. Ear Doctor, we at the barbershop. We talking that talk. Let me get back to my freeze. Yeah.
I could just imagine beforehand, everybody's like, taking their heart medicine, the high blood pressure medicine, make sure they can perform good. Somebody's like, oh, my arthritis acting up. I got to do this move. Oh, damn. Everybody's
Big Daddy Kane has been doing them dance moves since 88 and before that, and is still doing them. I'm true. Like, because you got to remember, Prince, he's been doing his dance moves. He was on meds because of his.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And damn heels. Prince was. I won't get too far. Them goddamn heels, and he jumping off of pianos. And
right?
He actually literally damaged his hip and his back because he was doing that shit for like year after year after year after year.
Listen, man, I jumped with some Timberlands on, and my damn shit hurt. So I can imagine jumping with some heels. I just don't even. Shout out to Prince. You know what I'm saying? He could do that. You know what I mean? Kane. I saw Kane a couple years ago, man, break down and do a split. I'm talking about maybe right before COVID and whatnot. So it's like, I mean, and I want to point out too, because of the fact that cats don't understand that Jay-Z and Big Daddy Kane are like 10, 11 months apart in age. You understand what I'm saying? But Kane seems so old school because of the fact that Jay-Z is smart enough to team up with some of the new cats.
But Jay-Z came out after Big Daddy, right? He didn't hit until when Big Daddy was hitting. That's like a few years later. Even though they made like his fame came later, like in a different era, I guess. Right.
But listen though, I want to definitely get back to the verses, but we have a very important guest that we want to bring on. So I definitely want to address them while they're here, and then maybe we can talk about the verses more in depth when after this next joint, because of the fact that we got some stuff to talk about around these parts. You feel me?
True.
Anyway, we're gonna be right back with you with our with two very important guests. I want to start it off by saying that on January 10th, 2013, Kendrick Johnson, a black 17-year-old junior at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia, went to school and never returned. So today, one of the cases that we had the opportunity to work with the families on was this particular case. So we invited his parents on today. So we're going to have Jackie and Kenneth Johnson on in 1 second. So we'll be right back with you. It's Remix Morning Show. You know what we do around here.
Yep.
What's happening, y'all? As I mentioned right before we went to the quick break, we have the Johnson family on today, and I wanted to bring them on because of the fact that they've been fighting this case since I think it's about 7-8 years, but they can tell the story better than I could. I want to invite on brother Kenneth Johnson and sister Jackie Johnson. How y'all doing today?
Hi, how you?
We all right, man. I see you at work today handling the business.
Yeah, man.
Okay. I think Mama Jackie's mic is off. Let me see if we can help unmute her. Peace, Mama Jackie. I don't know if your mic is on mute, on hold. But anyway, Brother Kenneth, man, good to see you on here today. We caught you a couple of days ago at this particular event. For folks who are unfamiliar with your son, because oftentimes we hear about, we learn about what's going on. Peace, how you doing, Mama Jackie?
All right, and you?
Okay. I was going to say, where that camera go? I want to welcome you all to the Remix Morning Show first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? I know that for our viewers, many of them have followed the case, and they've grieved with you from afar, and but I wanted to get a idea for folks who don't know who is KJ. You know what I'm saying? Who is Kendrick Johnson? Because of the fact that oftentimes we talk about folks in past tense. You know what I'm saying? And we don't look at what made this person who he was. So if you don't mind, give us an idea of who Kendrick Johnson is and was.
Kendrick was a baby boy. He was 17. He was so full of life. He played football, basketball, and he ran track. But football was his passion in life. Kendrick was a good kid. He was the life of our family. And We used to just do so many wild and crazy things, like run through the house and wrestle. It used to be his dad, Kendrick and his dad, and me and the other children on the team. And, Kendrick was just a person that, when he came in the room, everybody, the room lit up. He was the type of child that he was to himself a lot. My mom used to call him a little peculiar child, but he was a good child. He didn't never really get into no trouble. Kendrick just had goals sight. He was a kid that had goals sight in life. He knew that one day he was going to be a professional football player. So that was his main thing in life, to do the right thing and, get to where he needed to be.
Right on. Now, I know that, it's difficult because I know you told this story 1,000 times. I've been in your presence several times hearing you tell the story. So I know it's difficult. We're talking about, this is what, this the 7th or 8th year right now that since he's been gone?
It's the 8th year. It's going January 10th to make 9 years.
January 10th will make 9 years. Now, for folks who are not familiar with the Kendrick Johnson case, if you're new to this program or you're new to, I don't know where you've been, but Kendrick, again, was a young man, a 17-year-old who went to school one morning and never returned, and he was found in a upside down in a wrestling mat. They claimed that he lost a shoe in the gym or whatever. There was cameras missing, so on and so forth. What has taken place over the last 8 years, if you don't mind just walking us through? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Over the last 8 years, we basically been, fighting for justice for Kendrick. It's been, a lot of lies been told by the lawyers, by the authorities. See, the government is supposed to protect and serve. We should have to fight against the government and get the truth about what really happened to Kendrick. They done came at us all kind of ways. Everything you can think of, they done tried to come at us. They done tried to say we owe them money for, fighting against them, and, all sorts of different crazy things that, they done tried to do to me and my family. But we will, over the course until the truth come out, we will continue to fight them, no matter what they do, and no matter how much they try to oppress us. We will get the facts out and get the truth out of what happened to Kendrick. Now they tried to say that they reopened the case, which we know was bullshit, because they are not going to uncover something that they covered up.
Right.
It's they always saying they recused themselves. Why didn't they get special people to come in and if they were gonna reopen the investigation, right?
I know.
Why did they get special people to come in and do a thorough investigation instead of the same people who helped cover it up be over the second investigation that they're doing? It ain't nowhere in the hell that they gonna uncover something where they covered up. This is crazy. But so we figure, we know that they just further trying to cover it up. Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
Now, I want to point out to the viewers, Valdosta is like, what, 5.5 hours from Atlanta? 5.5, 6 hours? I can't.
No, 3 hours.
Three. Okay, maybe I drive a little slower. Yeah. Ms. Jackie, your muted, your mic is muted. Yeah. I might drive a little slower because we go through Crackerville. It's a little different down that way. You know what I'm saying? But now you all, I mean, I know it's been rough because not only just the thought of your child not coming home, that's the first thing. Secondly, the response from the school, the city, the state, the prosecutors, so on and so forth. I can recall that was it the sheriff or the DA had said that said something about the autopsy report before you all had gotten any word, any official word. Was that correct? A few years back, because I know you all had a couple different autopsies done. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What was it, like 2 or 3 autopsies?
Right.
Two autopsies, right? And
it was a state autopsy, and then the one that we done.
Right.
But we had his body exhumed. We had his body exhumed twice.
Right. So you actually had to have his body exhumed twice, and you all found it was different findings, correct?
Yes.
Than the initial thing each time.
Yes, it was blunt force trauma.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And what did they say the cause was? I mean, because initially, he supposedly, we saw he was an athletic young man. Like you said, he was he played football, basketball, so on and so forth. The whole he got stuck in a wrestling mat type thing, and something was wrong with the cameras and all that type stuff. I mean, what did they say the cause of the blunt force trauma was? Did they ever respond to that?
Well, the first autopsy said it was positional asphyxiation, but when we had Kendrick exhumed the first time and took him to Orlando, Florida, to Dr. Anderson, the pathologist there, he said it was bruising to his right jaw, which concurred with the EMT's report when they first got there in Valdosta, and he said it was bruising to the right jaw. That's how it came to blunt force trauma, because Kendrick had hemorrhaging on the right side of his face.
Right. So, I mean, this case was so, insane on so many different levels because of the fact that, I understand that you all sued several people, and then the state turned around and sued you. And I mean, can we talk about that a little bit? Because of the fact that, I mean, it's like you're already grieving the loss of your child. You haven't gotten any, you had to exhume his body twice. You were talking about a couple different autopsies. And at the same time, now they're saying that you owe them money. How does this thing work? I mean, because of the fact that this sounds about as ass backwards as any particular, I mean, it sounds like a bad movie. What, I mean.
Yeah, it feels like we're into a Lifetime story that we can't wake up from. But for us to have to pay them, feel like we're paying the people that murdered our child. We paid them to murder our child. That's how that feels, because first of all, they know exactly what happened, but to try to make it look like we're just dumb black parents, don't know what we're talking about. So that's what it leads up. When our documentary came out, it told on the lies that they were telling. It just brought it all to the light, what we've been saying since Kendrick was killed, day one. Like, you can't rebuttal the truth. What the FBI put in their report, they didn't expect nobody to continue digging. They thought by now those set of black parents would be to shut up and just went on their way and let this go. No, we're not never letting this go. Something will be done about Kendrick Johnson. It's not okay for you to kill our child and y'all run around here in this land and be free and doing what you wanted, but you don't took another child, took a child's life. My child. Where we got to go to the grave and visit him, where we up for Christmas and his birthdays and holidays, and we got to continue to suffer because we haven't begun to grieve yet, because we ain't had a chance. We've been fighting since day one, so it's no chance of grieving. You got to go through the motions and continue to get up and continue to fight for Kendrick Johnson. Ain't no time for grieving.
That's right. I saying that I commend you is an understatement. I've seen you, the two of you, and not just the two of you, your other children, the family, so on and so forth, in different cities. And to have the courage to even get up, I know it's hard. You know what I'm saying? I can just, I mean, I don't, with all due respect, I don't want to imagine. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that I know that, I mean, the strength that you all have. So first of all, I was definitely happy to see y'all the other day because of the fact that, you're consistent every time I see y'all. It's not like, like sometimes you get some folks, they go Hollywood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they, and it's no longer about the child. It's about, a speaking engagement or a check. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I definitely honor and respect the fact that you all have been consistent and refuse to let up this fight.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They can't lynch our children and get away with that shit. And we just sit back and say, okay, well, you say this happened. No, that's bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? I sent my child to school, and your child was a junior in high school, correct? So he had one more year left in high school. You understand what I'm saying?
He was sophomore.
Sophomore.
Right.
1 year, 2 year.
Right.
I don't give a damn if he's a freshman.
That's
I
right.
sent my child to school. You know what I'm saying? And I expect for him to come back the same way that he left. And then you give me some bullshit talking about this happened, the camera stopped working, and all types of other nonsense. They talked about you owe them money. I would like the audience, if you don't mind, what type of sum of money? Is it $20? Is it $100? Is it $1,000? What are they saying?
$300,000.
Okay, so they murdered your child and want to charge you $300,000, and on top of the fact that you had to have his body exhumed, which I know if you had to have his body exhumed twice, that costs money.
Right.
Okay, and they have the audacity, instead of bringing you justice. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kenneth. Yeah. Okay, I thought you said that. Yes, sir.
Let me let you know. I was trying to say on that second on the second time we exhumed his body. The reason why we exhumed his body the second time because the coroner seen some pictures that he didn't see at first. And he seen bruising in Kendrick's chest area and on the side area. So what they wanted to do is go back in and have another look. So when they lift the first, they lift the left skin up off of his chest, you can see they seen where the blood vessel was busted in his chest and on his side to the evidence of the bruising. They say the blood vessel was busted right beneath the skin.
So I mean, so this is the coroner that did the initial investigation. Is that right?
The second and the third. It's the one that did the second and the third. Yes.
Okay.
No, the coroner never do the autopsy.
No. I'm saying, which one did you say saw the bruising that he didn't see in the first? Saw the bruising in the pictures that he didn't see the first time. Was that two different people?
Yeah. The one. Two different people.
Oh, okay.
But the second time, the second time we had him exhumed, it was two pathologists.
Okay.
Two pathologists, one out of Nebraska and one out of Florida.
Okay. Now, this question is gonna sound crazy, but what do you believe happened to Kendrick? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just like, you know, you got the autopsy report, you have the coroner report, you have what they told you from the school. What is your belief in as far as in you don't, you know, have to name names and that type of stuff? You know, we cool with that, but what is your belief that what do you all think that happened?
I believe he was beat to death. They ganged up on him and they beat him to death. They caught him off guard and they beat him to death. They hit him with a weight and they disabled him. And that's how they got him down. And they it was more than one or two people, and they beat him
and placed him in the mat.
Mm-hmm.
And that story does not sound far-fetched at all, based on the pictures that I've seen and the reports that I've read. Right. Moving forward, there's a documentary out right now. Finding Kendrick Johnson.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? How did that come about, and you know, where can we check that out?
Well, that came about. We know we want to put together something, and you know, to really tell the story of what really happened to Kendrick. But that part that the FBI, people had sent us different like photoshots and screens about the FBI report, but we didn't know how deep the FBI report was. So we really didn't know about the photo until the documentary come out. When the guy actually showed us really what he had, the filmmaker actually showed us what he had and what he had found in the FBI report. That we didn't know the FBI report was there, and it goes to the truth about what we have been saying all along. Because all along, the school, the sheriff department, and everybody else was saying those boys was not on campus. Those boys was, one was way off in a classroom and the other was way out of town. Which it turns out that all that was a lie.
Wow.
So if the boys didn't have nothing to do with it, why would they would they go to such an extent to tell a lie and saying they was nowhere around? I mean, why would they do that? Because they had everything to do with what happened to Kendrick.
So it was it seems to us it was a mass cover up.
Yes.
Okay. I understand that the case has been reopened. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that. What are some of the next steps and next stages, and how could our viewers get involved, because of the fact that our platform is an international platform. So there's some folks on here now that's checking us out that it may be their first time hearing about this particular case. You know what I mean? What's the next step and the next stages?
Well, our next step are
we wanted to go ahead,
our next steps are to get another private eye to come back and revamp the case. So we're in the process of raising money to get some more PIs to come back and go over Kendrick's case and see what some of the stuff that the people did miss and stuff, because it's got so many layers to it. To the case just need to be gone back over, because the last 8 years have been a disaster. But this year with the documentary Finding Kendrick Johnson, if you haven't seen that, please go watch Finding Kendrick Johnson. It's on Google, YouTube, Amazon Prime. With that documentary coming out, it told so much truth and it had so much evidence in there till it's another step that you got to go in to even go back before the courts to get any kind of justice.
So I know that this particular film is narrated by actress Jennifer Lewis. How has the response been from we're in Georgia? You know what I'm saying? You have the Tyler Perrys, you have so many other people. Jennifer Lewis is she's way on the other side of the country. Is that right? I mean, like, how did she get involved in a particular case? In the case?
Through the filmmaker, but shout out to Jennifer Lewis. She's using her platform to really be vocal about Kendrick Johnson, and we really appreciate her, because you have so many other celebs, as she shared on her page, they're sharing it too. So it's really getting Kendrick word across there. That's a big thing that we needed, that for somebody to just continually share, not just share a story one time and just be like, okay, well, I shared the story, but she's continuing to vocalize on her platform about Kendrick, and it's helping push his story. But it's pushing his story, but we're pushing for justice. That's what we want. We want some justice. We want his story to be heard and told. But our main thing is we need some people to come in and help us fight for justice. On boots on the ground, we need that kind of help, where you got somebody that knows some attorneys, somebody that knows some private eyes, somebody with a big pocketbook to come in and help. I mean, I'm just telling it like it is. We need financial help. We need people help. At this point, we need help, because in the beginning it was like our one attorney to about 20 different other attorneys. So that's just like you running into an ambush every time.
That's right. So how can the people donate. I know that for all our viewers, definitely go check out Finding Kendrick Johnson. Finding Kendrick Johnson. You can find that, as she mentioned, on Amazon and pretty much all streaming platforms. You know how to look for it. How can people donate to the campaign? How can people is there a website or something that folks could go to? Or
you can donate through our GoFundMe. It's called Justice for KJ, or you can either go on. We do have a website. Is www.kendrickjohnson17.org.
KendrickJohnson17.org.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're looking. I'm looking to have you all back on whenever you have any breaking news or anything you need to talk about or whatever. Consider our platform your platform. I know y'all ain't seen me in a while. I ain't seen you in a while, but just know we here. You know what I'm saying? And it's a phone call. You know how to reach me. You know how to reach us. And I want to see. I want to see justice for Kendrick, because of the fact that, this whole story just sounds like part of my English just so fucked up. Yeah. Because of the fact that I've been around, I've been to Macon and Valdosta, and I see how these crackers get down. You know what I'm saying? And and to the naked eye, I was speaking to one of my brothers whose daughter went to school in Valdosta, and he was talking about going to that particular university, you wouldn't know all the racism that surrounds that particular area. You know what I'm saying? And how people are literally in fear of many of these good old boys and these hometown crackers who've been ruling over with an iron fist for so long. But we're here to tell you that we're not going to just sit back and I can't promise you no empty justice, right, but we're not going to go out with a fight. I love y'all. We respect y'all. Brother Kenneth, appreciate you coming on. My man said, look, I'm at work, but I'm gonna hop on here with my brother. That's all right with me. I like that. You know what I'm saying? Mama Jackie, we here. Like I said, whatever we can do to assist. We're gonna go check out. Make sure everybody go check out Finding Kendrick Johnson. We're live and direct with the Johnson family. And again, we appreciate you coming on, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for having us.
No doubt. Checking out the RemiX Morning Show. We do around here. We bring you the news that other folks are scared to bring you, and we're gonna bring it in a way that is live and direct and raw and uncut. RemiX Morning Show. We out.
Yeah, man. It's a hard interview, man. I mean, that family's been through so much. The things that they've had to deal with. The whole idea that people want to just tell them that there was some accident at a gym, and the sort of concocted tale that they've been told, obviously would lead any family to be like, what the hell are you talking about? I sent my son to school, and you're telling me that he somehow got wrapped up in a rug and died? It just
a wrestling match.
Crazy. It just sounds so crazy that it's so crazy. But in America, and the way the legal system works, they're going to try to convince you that you're crazy for wanting to fight for justice for your child.
That's right.
Knowing that this cockamamie story is supposed to just like make me go back and go like, oh, okay, whatever you tell me. This ain't the days of this ain't the plantation where you just tell somebody a story and send them back out to the cotton field because they can't do nothing about it and shit. So it's just crazy, man.
Man, listen, man. Just going down there to Valdosta and to Macon and all of that shit. It's like, these white folks literally really didn't give a fuck. Pardon my English. I'm talking about you. And when you're talking about blaming the victim, I don't know if you all have saw the images of Kendrick Johnson, man. You really, got to Google that and just get an idea. There were reports that, there was organs missing and the body stuffed with newspaper, all types of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And they were saying, well, that's just how they do in some counties and all that type craziness. But I mean, you know, having children, like you said, you just cannot. I mean, you trust that when they go into a school building, that there's some type of level of degree of safety. You know what I'm saying? That's just the common thought.
Yeah, you expect you're going to see them in 5 hours. You're going to go pick your baby up. Your baby's going to come home and tell you about their day. It's going to be some silly fighter or whatever that drives you crazy, but they're going to be there in your life. You don't expect to just send them out one day and then all of a sudden you're told that they're gone. And then when you try to, you obviously inquire into, well, why are they, what's happened to my child?
Right.
That they got tangled up in a wrestling mat?
I mean, but not only that, it wasn't even that day. This was the following day that they allegedly found him. You know what I'm saying? So you're wondering where your child is overnight. So as a parent, you have this sophomore child. So all kinds of things are going through your head. Man, where this boy at? You know what I'm saying? This isn't what you're thinking about because of the fact that you know his friends saw him at school. But the thing that was crazy about the shit too, when they went to get the cameras, there was a glitch for a certain amount of time. So they saw Kendrick walk in on the camera, but all of a sudden the tape messes up and they never saw him come out. And they claim that he dropped his shoe, his sneaker. He used to hide his sneakers under the mat, is what they said. This is bullshit they came up with. Yes. So they claim, and this is his body inside of the actual the wrestling mat. So he's upside down. This isn't, you know, the way it's pictured from, I guess, aerial. So he's allegedly stuck. Now you see he has these two shoes here on that are taken off, and there was one shoe that was under him. Now blood rushed from his body, and the only blood that you saw on the sneaker that they allegedly found was under the shoe. Understand what I'm saying here? The shoe is under him. Blood is rushing from his body, but the only blood they find is under his shoe. I mean, that sounds insane. You know what I mean? So here it is, this young man whose parents never saw him again after January 10th, I believe it was. And they turn around, and these folks turn around and sue him, sue the parents. So now they have to pay $300,000 even questioning the case because they sued these other families. One of the folks was one of the fathers was an FBI agent. That's what they were talking about. And they believe two of his sons were involved. But of course, him being an upstanding member of that particular community, you know, his sons was found innocent. He turns around and some other folks turn around and sue them. So now they owe $300,000. So you lost your son. And now, as you saw, Mr. Johnson, I mean, he's a truck driver. He's driving his truck and work on the show at the same damn time. So I salute and respect him because of the fact that shows a level of respect for our platform that he actually is even at work, and his wife, and they both came on. So, you know, it's just I love that family, but it's hurtful to see them at times because of the fact that it's like, what do you say? You understand what I'm saying? What words of encouragement can you give?
And it's been basically a decade, right? Since
it's going on 9 years.
9 years, like since his murder.
Yeah.
And like he's like, you know, all praise is due to them because they've done, you know, what a family would be, you know, hard pressed to do is like whatever it takes to keep this story alive, to gain support, to make sure that people understand that this wasn't some accident, that there is a truth there that people are hiding from them and from the world. There are people who are responsible for his death, and that those folks need to be discovered and uncovered. And it's a lot for folks to go through. Families go through this in America. This is what Black families go through, whether it's something like this remains some sort of sordid mystery for 10 years, whether it's police killings, whether it's killings in prisons or in jails. It's whether we go outside sometimes, and unfortunately our child don't go home because it's like violence in the streets. It's our kids that continually have to live in this kind of world, where our lives are taken for granted, where our lives are just basically something that it does not matter to the society. Finding the truth about what happens to our kids, to our people, does not matter in a society. And it's never going to matter in a society. And that's why we got to gain some sort of power and control over our lives and institutions that are wrapped around our lives. Because, you know, I just don't know what could happen if I sent my child to school and someone comes back to me with that kind of story. You know, that school won't be operating no more. I won't be operating. I don't even know what I could do, what I would do.
Yeah, and that right there, and that's not, and for the record, that ain't no tough guy talk. That's just like, yo, like, what the fuck are you telling me? You know what I'm saying? I got an attitude. If my child comes home with a scratch, I got an attitude. If they tell me another kid spills some shit on them on purpose or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that right there, and you not putting me in a straitjacket or something. You know what I'm saying? You might as well just go ahead and just lock me up immediately because of the fact that I just don't know. And like I said, you know, I told Mama Jackie, I don't want to imagine it. You know what I'm saying? And that's respectfully, because of the fact that I don't even know what to say to you. Mm-hmm. I'm mad for you. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And yeah. So anyway, you know, shout out to Marcus Coleman, the family spokesperson. You know what I'm saying? One of the comrades out there who's been putting in work on that particular case. We're gonna take this quick break, go to the ear doctor real quick, and we'll be back with more of the Remix Morning Show. Y'all stay with us. Black Power Media, we out here.
Yeah. Let's do it. All right, that was heavy. That's heavy information. Make sure y'all continue to support the family and kiss and hug your kids every day if you can. You know what I'm saying? At least give them a call, especially for my co-parents out there. Just give them a call. Say, what's good? How was your day? Let's try to lift these spirits back up real quick. What we're going to do is we're going to do a BPM flashback. We was talking about the verses earlier. One of the guests that came on for verses was Hakeem Green, which is part of Mad Ism. And we actually had an interview from the riot starter when he dealt with hip hop, legalization of cannabis, and its impact on the Black community. So let's go there real quick and give you a flashback of that time and space. Here we go.
Your history in hip hop, you know what I mean? How did Channel Live link up with KRS-One? How did this thing happen? You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that all we know is that one day we're looking on a TV set, and the video was going on, and it was a young Hakeem with locks. You know what I mean? The locks left, but you still here. Yeah, what? How did that take place, man?
Yeah. So, you know, I was a school teacher back in the day, from 1990 to 94. Yeah, okay. 1990. Myself, my good brother Hassan Sharif, and my good brother Rodney Jackson, some other friends, started an after-school program called Act Now, African Children of Tomorrow Now. And that program was created, really inspired by hip-hop at the time. You know, KRS-Ones, BDPs, Public Enemies, X-Clans, Native Tongue, Jungle Brothers. You know, it's just the whole style and, you know, resonance was pro-Black, was Afrocentric, was that was it. And looking at the school system that I grew up in, that's what was missing. I mean, I caught it in pieces here and there, but there was no structured way of getting across the idea that we were more than just slaves, you know. So we created this organization, Act Now, and we launched the program with You Must Learn by KRS-One. And that said, I didn't know KRS-One. I didn't, you know, personally, I didn't know him. I was a fan. I was a stan, actually, but that's, you know what I mean? So we start the class off with You Must Learn. Proswell was in that class from the Fugees.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
A student or?
Yeah, he was a student. Well, you know, it was an after school program. I was a teacher at the middle school, but the program was ran at the high school. So, you know, it was like a little big brother, big, you know, like that type of thing. It wasn't really my student.
You was prize ghostwriter?
No, but I did help Lauren once.
Okay.
That's another story.
Shout out to Lauren.
Big shout out to
that's right. What part of Jersey you from?
East Orange.
East Orange. Okay.
From East Orange. But we actually, I knew Lauren when she was a little girl because we used to play basketball behind her house. She lived behind a school. We used to play basketball.
So if y'all want to hear more about that story, when they start talking about Lauren and all the Jersey, break up the Jersey. But that was a great interview by no other than Kalonji Jamachengo on the Riot Starter TV. So go and check out that interview and many more if you can. And that's what it is right here on BPM. Let's get back to it, y'all.
Ghetto superstar.
Hey,
that is what you are.
Hey,
that was my man. That was my man.
They fronted on Price, huh?
I know he never got the love he deserved. He never got it.
For production and all that. Come on.
I can't even say it with a straight face. I can't
Shout out to Hiram because I thought about Wu-Tang when you said Prize. I'm thinking about Prize is like the master killer of or you god of the Fugees. You know what I'm saying? It's like
he never got. He had that one song that was you know. Yeah, they didn't take him for the ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo, speaking of on that Wu-Tang saga, did they even mention Master Killer?
I don't know.
I don't even think they even brought this up.
Season 2. It might. I got to check now. I you know I was late to the game, but I watched season 1. It was really interesting. I thought they seemed to you know overdid it in terms of some of the stuff that they might have done. I'm not there. I'm not trying to get the Wu Clan mad at me or nothing. Oh, yeah, but they seem to be suggesting some things. I was like, "Where y'all gonna say y'all did that? Word? Y'all were like gangster like that?" But it was real good. The acting was good. Like I got into the characters. I was like one of those people. I was like, "Oh, I can't wait for season 2," and I think it's upon us, if not already, but soon to be. You know what I mean? So, who's the greatest rapper from Jersey?
I would go between Redman, Wise Intelligent, and Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
You don't put Lauren on there?
Yeah, Lauren too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you already know that.
Tretch.
Yeah.
Tretch started. Tretch is one of the best lyricists, and he gave a lot of people their style back in the early 90s. Everybody was doing like this when they was rhyming like Tretch, trying to be like him.
You mean OPP Tretch?
OPP, Yoke the Joker. Don't get me started now. You know I can go.
You know, it's ill though. I remember the first time I saw Naughty by Nature that Tommy Boy did a promo for him. I think they was in the back of like the back cover of the Source, but the imagery was dope. They sitting there with the chains and the machete that he got from another rapper. I'm not going.
They were DMX before DMX, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Listen, when we talk about that street style, Naughty by Nature came with it, yo.
He wasn't X though. You know what I'm saying? I think I was never really a big fan of Tretch. The only song I really rock with him on is what's the joint that was on the Juice soundtrack?
The anthem.
Oh yeah.
Yo, you could get it with the clip, but this is no mountain high.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. I mean, just he's when you mention. I mean, Redman definitely. Redman might be.
Redman's consistent. I would say lyrically wise, popularity wise, Redman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because Wise your boy. You always keep doing
you
got lyrics.
Listen, we talking about lyrics, we talking about flow. He brought that whole chatting style with the reggae, with the hip hop, just like KRS-One, which was a student of KRS-One.
Yeah.
He's the best in your state, though. He reps your whole state.
He represents Trenton. He a homeboy, so you know what it is. Come on, stop playing.
Nice, man.
But you're not saying he's nicer than Lauren, though.
I mean, I love Lauren. Lauren's dope.
I hear a butt coming, though. I hear a butt.
Yeah, I mean, lyrically, yeah. I mean, it's like
Lauren, get some more albums and then talk to Wise. I'm just saying.
I mean, and I ain't even.
But the Miseducation might be the best hip hop album ever.
Well,
it might be the number one hip hop album ever.
I unite with that.
It's emotional range, the things she talks about, the things she goes into, how she flips it. even her ability to sing and do hip hop at the same time, that album might be the best hip hop album of all time.
I mean,
even though she didn't write all her shit, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that don't even matter because of the fact that I think she's talented. Period. Acting, singing, the whole nine. She had the accomplishments. And shout out to Lauren and shit. I knew her once upon a time as well, but I don't think she's wise, intelligent lyrically. You know what I'm saying? I think that she holds down her joint. Now, Jersey does have. Shout out to Al Unique. I just saw he said that Jersey got some of the illest women rappers.
Queen Latifah, Rod Digger,
and I mean, Queen Latifah, Rod Digger, and Lauren alone. That's a problem. I even throw Heather B up in there. Shout out to
Heather B. That's right.
Glocks down. You know what I'm saying? I would throw the artifacts in it. I got one of these days. I'm gonna do.
Jersey ain't no Brooklyn, but it's not. Y'all produce some stuff.
It ain't
hey, let's not forget. Sugar Hill Gang. One of the ones that started this, even though
don't mention that to Jared. Jared feels like Sugar Hill was a corporate shell to destroy hip hop.
Hey,
Jared, I like Sugar Hill. Back when I was a kid, no one thought of. I mean, it's a good layer of intellectual thought to put upon it. But when as a kid, Sugar Hill had a couple of bangers. Even they were taking other people's styles. I understand, in retrospect. But at the time when you hear it, you're just like, that shit was good.
Apache and Rapper's Delight. Yeah, they did that too.
Yeah. But shout out to the rapper Apache too from Jersey.
That's right.
And Nikki D and all those folks. But the thing about Sugar Hill Gang, I think Sugar Hill Gang was like the Mama's Biscuits of 1980. What you think?
No. We're gonna have to bring back Jared Ball for that conversation.
He might pop up in the chat any second. We might give him like slow down.
Looking for me. Anyway,
Sugar Hill Gang they're a legit pioneer.
I said a hit.
They're a legit pioneer group. Everybody knows that song. That, in fact, whether people like it or not, that's the song that broke hip hop, right? I mean, one of the first 2 or 3 songs ever on wax. But that was the song that broke hip hop and gave it a certain level of popularity. Whether or not they were like the most authentic or from the whatever, though they were cats from different hoods or whatever. They put hip hop at a certain level. Obviously with some corporate backing, some backing, but that song was dope enough.
As a son of Jersey hip hop, you're welcome. That's all I got to say.
Shout out to Sylvia Rome for leading that pack over there, driving that car. But I don't Sugar Hill was definitely, man, you got me having flashbacks right now. When I thought I was gonna be a DJ, I remember I was playing that Sugar Hill record that was about 12 minutes long or some shit like that. It was like
12, 15 minute version,
Man, the brand new Cadillac. I'm here, and I'm there, and I'm big bang, I'm
everywhere. Just throw your hands up in the air and party hardy like you just don't care. Don't do it.
So back to the verses we was talking about. I know we was talking about it, but I was thinking about who actually could go against Wu-Tang, and I forgot about Buckshot. He came out and represented too. But I was thinking about Boot Camp Click might be the only one that could go against Wu-Tang if it's not the hieroglyphics.
With Boot Camp,
they're not going to last against.
It's going to be a majority of Smith and Wesson and Bucks.
Yeah, and Black. They're not going to last against. I mean, it's almost like the early rounds. It'll be a 12 rounder or 50. Back in the day, 15 rounder. They're going to be there for the first 3 or 4 rounds, but after that, they're going to take some heavy hits. It's going to be.
I think Smith and Wesson, it'd be like Smith and Wesson and MOP, but I think that Smith and Wesson would have more long range joints. You know what I'm saying? Or because Boot Camp Click is certainly slept on. They from Brooklyn, by the way. Come on.
I mean, but I love Boot Camp too. Like I sort of similar. Like you knew some. I knew some of the cats back in Brooklyn. They're not fucking with Wu though.
Because the only
who y'all saying that? I mean, y'all need y'all license. Y'all got all this friendship shit stuck up.
I'm just saying, as in a group of rappers, you got hieroglyphics, you got the Dungeon Family, you got Boot Camp Click, and then you got Wu-Tang.
Is just a group of people who rap. That's not the it's like you can't tell me they're gonna hang lyrically, musically, rhythm. They're not hanging with Wu, B. They're not hanging with Wu.
The thing is, they kept
I'm not gonna turn the camera off.
They both came with the grimy style, but I think that Boot Camp maintained that grimy style. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact,
You're saying Wu, you're saying boot camp is competition for Wu. That's what you're saying.
I mean, it's too many Wu members. But if Sean P was alive, I think I would add that to the joint because Sean P wasn't no motherfucking game. I don't know why y'all trying to front.
Oh no,
you can't even say it with a straight face though. You can't say it with a straight
face.
No,
he can.
Sean P. Not about Sean, not about him. I'm saying about the whole idea that there is some competition out there for Wu. Wu is the greatest. Listen, other than PE,
I'm bringing them on the show.
The greatest group ever.
I'm bringing Smith and Wesson in the show.
Oh,
about that.
You heard it here first.
Either this week or next week. I'm calling.
Wu is not the greatest hip hop band ever.
They are.
No.
I mean, the root. I mean,
band,
group. The
hip hop group. Yeah.
That fucked the Roots up, right?
The Roots.
No, Roots is only one rapper.
All of them.
What?
I'm saying like the early Roots with Dice Raw and
early Roots. They still can't fuck with the Wu.
Thank you. Going back to your sentence.
I'm just saying and in hieroglyphics you got Casual, Del the whole Funky Homo Sapien, and then you got the other joint, the other cats.
You know who used to rhyme with them back in the day? Definitely Malik B. You know who used to rhyme with the hieroglyphs? What's my man named? The actor. I actually met him at a Black August out there. Dark-skinned brother played
he was an actor?
Yeah, he's an actor right now. He's a known actor. Mahershala Ali.
Okay.
He used to rap back then. I actually met him at one of the Black August joints in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? So, he was actually a pretty dope MC back then. You know what I mean? So shout out to him. But anyway, man, I love the Wu too, but
there's no but.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's not like
it's clear cut, son. You know
it's as the greatest group alive, hip hop group, yeah. I mean, alive. 9 MCs that, and you could just actually just at least go to 4 of those MCs and find a whole long career solo album.
I don't want the qualifiers. I keep hearing some qualifiers. They're not the greatest rap group alive. They're the greatest rap group, period.
Listen, shout out to the Roots. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. And that's just it.
They the greatest. Roots is the greatest band between them and Stetsasonic. That's about as in bands, yeah. But
I don't know what it is between. It's Roots.
I mean, come on, man. Shout out to
I don't even know if there's like competition on that level.
Shout out Daddy-O and Stat, man. Stop trying to diss everybody, man. I can't even go partake in your badness of it. But anyway, but round for round, pound for pound, KRS did his thing minus the breath control.
Yeah.
I think that one of my criticisms for KRS and on the versus tip was the whole the rhyming like because it's a whole new generation who don't know neither one of y'all, so they need to see what we saw and feel what we felt. Yes. If you just talking about something, I mean that's whack. You know what I'm saying? It's cool for us because we know already.
We know it, and that's the difference. That's why I said Kane won when it comes to MCing. The dude straight, he no pauses, no breath control was on point. He won on that aspect. But as in the hits, I mean, you got hits for days, man. You can't beat the hits.
How Scratch try to play Daz Effects, man? He's like, man, I know you ain't been on the stage in a while.
Oh, word! I hear that part.
Jersey wouldn't
Oh, another Jersey Brooklyn connect. Daz Effects. Oh. I'm just saying.
Oh.
and the big up to Connecticut. What was the name of y'all group?
Kalanji, motherfucker. That's it.
Bang. Skinny Boys. That's right.
Shout out to the Skinny Boys.
The human Jock Box.
I went to school with Jock, man. Shout out to Jock, Shaka Sean, Superman J. You know what I mean?
It's like you naming them names like anybody else knows.
Hey, on the real, there's a lot of
like you naming like family members. You might as well just say my aunt Gerald, Uncle Lee, Brother Ty back in the day. Love you, man. It's like naming all family members, son. Nobody know who those people are. Nobody's like, you know what?
There's a lot of dope MCs from Connecticut, man. I think the thing is
where they at?
Because like New York and Jersey was trying to hog shit up. They ain't want no problem with anything outside of there.
Right.
Man, please.
We built this city.
Whatever, yeah.
I got the hubcaps. We got the hits, B. You good with that.
Hey, there's one important cat. And it's funny, we got the tri-state representing right here. You got Ear Doctor from Jersey, Kamal from New York, and me from Connecticut. I ain't gotta tell y'all, Bridgeport run things every time. Wow, that's what it's all about. I know what y'all looking froze for. I know the dude.
Oh no, I thought I was waiting.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, Connecticut rules.
Something topical.
Yeah,
there's some haters.
We just talking that junk right now. We got a couple minutes left before we out of here for the day. Yes. We got some stuff planned for the rest of this week.
Yeah, we got some dynamite
Tomorrow
stuff.
We got Professor Jared Ball is going to be joining us back again. Jackie Lukman, Kim Brown.
Kim Brown in the
downtown,
building.
You know what I mean? Yes. So all our good folks are coming back for the next couple of days to be up here with us. We got some other special guests coming up in the house. So
okay.
Keep looking forward.
Shout out to Steezo. That's right. All right, people, man, Steezo. You know what I'm saying? Stop fronting on Steezo. Thank you, Ty. Here.
EPMD and ugly backup dancer.
Wow.
Steezo used to hold the money. I think he used to hold the money. That was his job.
He had one hit.
I hate y'all.
Hey, what was the name of that hit, Kalanji?
It's hard to rap. It's hard to rap.
Anyway, this week on Black Power Media, like you mentioned, those folks will be back tomorrow. Also tomorrow, 55th anniversary of the Black Panther Party. Check us out, 2 p.m. tomorrow. Paying homage. We have a few different veterans on there. Also, I want to say we got some surprises coming up this week. Some serious surprises. I'm not going to say anything just yet. I'm just saying that it's about to go down this week on Black Power Media. That's all I'm going to say. I don't even want to jinx it or none of that type stuff, but let's just say there might be something going on today. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? At Black Power Media, Black Power MED1. Follow our personal pages, which you can see on the bottom of our names here. And one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start doing riot alerts. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to announce when we're going to have certain people on. I may do it an hour in advance or something like that because we got some real dope shit coming on. So make sure, check me out over there, man. Follow my page and follow these other brothers over here. And
that's right. And check out I actually did the Ear Doctor Sunday, premiered that at 7. I had the sister Honeysuckle Moon. We talked about health, wealth, and business. So great interview. Go check that out too.
Yes. So a lot of good stuff coming up on Black Power Media. We appreciate you all supporting, all that we do. We're still not even a year old yet. You know what I'm saying? But one of the things that we talked about last week that you can assist with is definitely telling a friend about what we have going on here, because of the fact that we have about a little over 11,600 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I think that that's atrocious. And I'm saying that because of the fact we've had some heavy hitters, some heavy guns come through here. And, folks need to know about some of the content we have. I mean, I'm happy that, folks are coming up like, yo, we dig what y'all doing or whatever, so on and so forth. But the only way we're going to be able to compete with the mainstream media and also some of these other corporate sponsored Black folks who are out here pretending to be top notch and the top shelf is for you all to let people know we exist. So for those of you who have been doing that, we appreciate it. We appreciate all the retweets, all the folks on IG that's been recording our videos and putting up there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sugar Booger. We see that you've been putting up some videos on our behalf. Definitely appreciate that. And we love y'all, man. It's the Remix Morning Show, Black Power Media, same time, same station, mañana.
That's right.
And any part.
With that said, we see y'all.
Peace.
Steezo.